moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
I am your host, Dwayne Cupid, and we are coming to you live from the Promotional, downtown Scarborough, Tobago. It is Friday, the 18th of October.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
Viewers, good morning and welcome to the morning show here on Tobago Updates Television. I am your host, Dwayne Cupid, and we are coming to you live from the Port Mall, downtown Scarborough, Tobago. It is Friday the 18th of October, 2024. Exactly one week away from Tobago October Carnival 2024 festivities, where we hit the road, whether it be Pan on the Road, whether it be Juve, whether it be Pretty Mass, whether it's just fetting for the weekend. We are 1 week away. I want to give kudos this morning to the Port Authority. Yes, they said approximately 17,000 people landing on the island via the ferry between the 23rd and the 25th. So kudos going out to them. I know we are still having that conversation with Carl, and I'm pretty sure that they are working behind the scenes and flights are going to be added on, all right, because Tobago October Carnival is definitely the place to be, exactly where you want to be as we celebrate, all right. I want to thank you so much for choosing Tobago Updates Television and choosing the morning show to wake you up. Whether you are viewing us from Facebook Live, YouTube, or Amplia 102, thank you so very much for choosing us. It is always indeed our pleasure to be seated before you, to be in your homes, to be in your vehicle with you, wherever on your way to work. Thank you so much again for choosing us. All right, we have a packed show for you this morning as per usual. Again, it is always our pleasure to bring everything to you, whether it be entertainment or current affairs. All right, so don't go anywhere, stay with us. I'm going to send you over to Biana for news in 90 seconds.
Thank you, Lavian. Here is your news in 90 seconds for Friday, October 18th, 2024. Ferry tickets for Tobago October Carnival period are sold out, but the Port Authority plans to add extra sailings between October 23rd to 29th to accommodate the high passenger demand on the sea bridge. However, Port Authority Chairman Lyle Alexander mentioned that despite the sold-out status, some walk-on passengers might still secure spots. This year, the sea bridge will run 20 sailings across the 3 vessels, aiming to transport a total of 17,608 passengers. Alexander assured that the service is well prepared to handle the influx, but advised waiting until after Carnival to assess the final passenger turnout. Up next, Kareem Peters, a 24-year-old laborer from Golden Lane, was granted $2 million bail after appearing in the Tobago Masters Court on Wednesday. He faces a charge of marijuana possessions for trafficking and is scheduled to return to court on July 10, 2025. The charge follows an incident on October 7, 2024, when officers acting on a tip-off found a white Nissan Tida parked along Pigeon Point Road. With help from the K9 unit, police discovered 48 packages and 7 additional packages of cannabis totaling to 29.7 kilograms with an estimated street value of 1.6 million. One suspect was arrested and the drugs were seized. And finally, opposition MPs are demanding the removal of National Security Minister Fitzgerald Hines after he blamed the public complacency for the rising murder rate, which exceeds 500 for the 3rd consecutive year. St. Augustine MP Khadija Aming called for his dismissal, citing his ineffective approach, while other MPs, including Saddam Hussein, Arnold Ram, and David Lee, criticized Hines for avoiding responsibility and noting an increase in kidnappings. Lee warned that the murder toll could surpass 600 and urged the Prime Minister, Dr. Keith Rowley, to act. And that was your news in 90 seconds.
Right, thank you so much for that, Biana. And Biana, this weekend, Blue Foods Festival. Would you be going up there for some Blue Food this weekend?
Yes, Lavian, I intend to go this time for Blue Food.
Yeah, and I was looking at the lineup. Nadia Batson.
Yes, and Swappy, a lot in store for us.
Yes, yes, indeed. Is it that this year we would be moving to the Blue Food grounds? I don't know. That piece of information missed me. I'm not very certain. But I know that last year plans were in place to have that grounds completed for this year. I think last year would have been 20 years celebrated, and it was supposed to be last year, but I think things were being put in place for this year. So I'm looking forward to that. I was having a conversation recently with someone from Trinidad that was telling me that the last time they were here, that was over 10 years ago.
Oh.
And they were talking about the traffic and getting down to the event, and I was letting them know that things run a lot more smoother now.
Yes.
Kudos going out to Festivals Commission. There isn't that hassle anymore. Yeah. So definitely.
So what are you looking forward to at the Blue Food Festival this year?
The craft markets.
Okay.
Definitely, because there's always some sort of earring, some sort of natural soap, some handbags, something like that. I definitely won't be holding any snakes this year, I could promise you that.
And what about the food menu?
Well, I will definitely be going up there for the wild stuff.
Okay. I intend to try the dashing black cake. I want to try that.
All right, so you'll be having some of the sweet tooth stuff.
Yes.
Well, I want the sweet hand stuff. Everything will cook down in coconut milk.
Yes.
That is what I will be up there for. All right. So all the vendors, look out for me. I will be there participating, Biana. I'm looking forward to seeing you up there.
Yes.
To enjoy your weekend.
You too.
All right. So viewers, I don't know if you would be heading up there for Blue Foods Festival, but definitely head up there. I mean, the entertainment lineup is something to see. On top of that, you definitely want to patronize all the local vendors that would be there with their produce. It is always such a beautiful day and a family-friendly day, all right? So we go straight into our birthday shout-outs this morning as we celebrate with those that are celebrating, and we are still in Libra season. So we have Mr. Quaynell Brooms. Quaynell, happy birthday going out to you from all your loved ones and your family here at Tobago Updates Television. Wishing you long life, good health and strength, and all God's richest blessings. And then we have Miss Tamika Pitt. Tamika, you enjoy your day, girl. Have a beautiful, wonderful day, as beautiful as you are. God's continued blessings on your life. I hope that you celebrate with friends and family today, all right? And a very happy birthday going out to all you viewers that are celebrating. Unfortunately, we might not have had your photographs, but you know what? A happy birthday going out to you. We pray that you have a wonderful day. And if you want to say happy birthday to anyone, drop it in the comments, all right? And we would definitely give them that shout out. And in the future, if you have anyone that you would love to see featured on our birthday shout outs, just send us their photograph and any specific greeting that you want us to give, and we'll definitely do that for you, all right? We are family here at Tobago Updates Television. It's the morning show. And you're probably wondering, Lavion, well, it is Friday, and it is the Friday before our Fantastic Friday, because next week Friday is our Fantastic Friday, as Super Blue said, right? Well, guess what? We have a packed show, and let me tell you who we'll be talking to this morning. We'll be talking to soca artist Mr. Dwayne White. He has a new release. Yeah, Red, White, and Black. That's his new soca release. Then later on, we'll be talking to Lady Lava. Yes, indeed. She'll be here on this island. during this Tobago October Carnival season with quite a few performances. So we are going to be talking to her. And then later on, we will be talking about the 2024 Four Balls Championship. All right, so we have a packed show for you. You don't want to miss a beat. Tobago Updates Television, Entertainment Central tonight. Don't forget, Entertainment Central tonight at 8 p.m. Again, thank you so much for choosing us here on the morning show. As we go for a quick break, I want you to remember to share the live, share the live, share the live.
Blue food came from dasheen locally. We look at dasheen, which when you boil it, you get a blue coloration.
Are you ready for Tobago Blue Food Festival 2024? Join us on October 20th for an unforgettable celebration of Tobago's unique cuisine. Enjoy live cooking demonstrations, local music, and cultural performances throughout the day. This festival has something for every palate. It's all happening October 20th in Bloody Bay. Visit TobagoFestivalsCommission.com for more info and make sure you're part of this one-of-a-kind culinary event.
Tell them I can't do even bother calling me. Tell them I can't. I said tell them I can't do even bother calling me. Tell them.
Attention soldiers, are you ready for the ultimate mission for Tobago Carnival? It's time to gear up for Army Fed Operation Rocks Glow.
I feel like I'm running tongue again. No place like home.
We're taking the vibes out to the countryside, where a premier cast of live entertainment will be pumping all night long. Army Fat Operation Rocks Glow. Join us on Thursday, 24th October at the Sid Grace Sporting Complex, Roxborough, for the high-energy Wear White Soca Bashment Rocks Glow. Army Fed Tobago. Operation Rocks Glow.
Attention members, now is your chance to double or even triple your dividend payment with no increase in your existing loan payment. Don't miss out on this incredible opportunity to boost your dividends effectively. Whether you're planning a vacation or simply looking to maximize your savings, we've got you covered. Call us today at 639-8226 or 631-1336. Message us on Facebook for more information. Hurry, this offer won't last long. Bethel Credit Union, because we see you at BCU.
Don't tell me about work I out on the road today. Don't tell me about work I out on the road today. Don't tell me about work I out on the road today.
Go in. You have to stop it. You have to stop it.
Welcome to my kitchen, guys.
You have to stop it again.
That's it. That's the intro. Let's do it one more time, right?
Jack's Cafe, the buffet restaurant that specializes in all your tasty local dishes. For breakfast and for lunch. Breakfast includes coconut bake and sada roti, served with chokers, bull joil, and sausages in tomato sauce. Not forgetting beef and cheese pies, shepherd's pie, macaroni pie, and rice in various styles. Meat served in a variety of flavors, garden salads, and pasta salads. All this accompanied by fruit juices, coconut water, your choice of a great combination to appease your taste buds. So call us today to order, as we are here to accommodate your busy schedules or if you are having a cooking day off.
You can now get whatever you need whenever you need it anywhere in Tobago with Tobago. Your meals, medication, groceries, and shopping all delivered directly to you. No more hassle, no more stress. Get the Tobago app today on Google Play or Apple App Store.
That's TAPPOGO and let us deliver to you.
Check our website at www.tapogo.app or call the experts at 494-TOGO and 484-4746. Tobago. Relax. We will get it to you. Tobago's at your service.
Hey, the biggest and sexy.
Now here what's going on. You see this section? It makes me feel to move. You know why? It's called Pina Colada. I like Pina Colada. Oh.
Forget just the girl them crave for. They really need it too. When you play with
oh my goodness. And as the name says, it is as creamy as it's sweet.
Never wanna leave cause the drinks them running for throw. Cause I really feel a vibe every time I start right down and up and like this. Man, it's nothing like this. Not you be like you. Forget just me say something and nobody like you. And every single time we touch, you know I never stop.
This is Pina Colada, something nice with a little bit of spice, and of course, not once, but we're gonna do it twice.
Cruise, make the
we are on the road with Pina Colada. Boom, boom.
Welcome back and thank you for staying with us. Welcome back to the morning show here on Tobago Updates Television. I am your host, Lavion Cupid, and we are diving right into conversations this morning. It is Tobago October Carnival 2024, and you know what? We are speaking to some of the artists that will be on the island performing at various events. And so this morning we are speaking to none other than Lady Lava. Lady Lava, good morning and welcome to the morning show.
Hi, good morning. Thank you for having me on the morning show.
Of course.
Bless the Tobago.
All right, so it is indeed a pleasure to have you this morning, but also a pleasure to be having you gracing our shows performing. But before we get into so much of the conversation, I want to ask you, I know that your sobriquet is Lady Lava, but as young people say, what is your government? So what is your government name?
All right, so my government name is Keisha Rebecca Harris.
All right, Keisha Rebecca Harris. Mm-hmm. All right, so Lady Lava. Where did Lady Lava come from?
From Central Trinidad, Cunupia to be exact. All my life I've lived Cunupia, still here.
All right. So tell me something. How is it as a woman in this mostly male-dominated industry with all your success as well? Let me congratulate you with your success over the summer. I mean, over the years, but definitely over the summer with the releases that you dropped. How is it as a woman in this male-dominated industry?
As a woman, some of the things would be a little more challenging for a woman, especially a woman with a child, because, the music industry is very time consuming, and I now have to balance and share myself in the home and also in the industry. So some of the things wouldn't be as easy as it would be for some of the men in the industry, where they could just, pick up and make this happen easy and not have all the rest of things to organize. So that's just one of the challenges as a woman. But when it comes to the performing aspect or the putting together songs, lyrical content, and it's not a challenge for me facing up against the males. I actually enjoy it.
Right. And as you said, lyrical content, do you write any of your content? Any of your songs?
If I write any?
Yes. Do you write any of them?
I write all of them.
All of them. All right. Have you only written for yourself, or have you written for others as well?
For myself and others as well.
All right. So you dive into writing as well. Producing as well. Do you touch on that?
Not producing as yet. I opened my own studio this year, but still learning a lot of stuff.
Yeah. All right, good. Well, I want to touch on your 2 hot songs that you had for the summer that we are moving into. Tell me, we know definitely the one that hit with the ladies the most, that has been ripping through the airwaves. It's all over my TikTok feed, all over my social media, all over my WhatsApp. Now, tell me where the inspiration came from. You don't have a ring, then you don't have a mister. Because, even I out here waving my fingers.
Just experiences with people around me, and then someone was coming, and I sat down when Aaron Duncan sent you with him, and the first thing that actually kind of came to my mind was, he said, I'm starting to know how it comes to my mind, but it came and the song developed from there. Mm-hmm. And then the part that a lot of times like to say, I'm a man. And sometimes a man,
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, I'm going to add in that part. And then when I went to the studio era, and I was like, I needed to say that, say plenty. So we developed on that. And then the verses was like experiences, stories, just see a girl talking about, in my circle, or just on the internet and stuff, put the topic together. And, yeah.
All right. And listen, lyrical content, you are never ever short on that. Let me give you your kudos and give you your flowers with that one time. You are never short on that, because as I find the consequences all day, every day, we singing this. Yeah. All right. So tell me some of the events that you would be gracing our shows to perform at, and what you're looking forward to Tobago October Carnival 2024.
Tobago have shown me so much of love that I'm excited to be there for Tobago Carnival. Appreciate Tobago a lot. And just to have fun, bring some of the new songs that I will be performing for the season. The carnival season is starting in Tobago. Everything starts in Tobago. Bringing new vibes to Tobago. Some of the events that I will be at. The first one is actually the Backyard Juve Jam.
Right.
And that will be on Sunday in Mason Hall.
Right.
So that's the first event that we kicking it off with. Mm-hmm. And after that, we there with Fog Angels. Mm-hmm. We have stuff at Jade Monkey that I would be at.
Right. So you're booked and busy.
All the different things.
Yeah.
But Lady Lava will be there in and out, enjoying Carnival with Tobago. I'm coming for you to enjoy the performances, for us to have fun and meet new people, meet new faces.
Yeah, booked and busy for the Tobago October Carnival season. We are happy to hear that. But even before you go in, I really want to ask you, how was your experience touching that international stage?
My experience touching the international stage, it was amazing. In my mind, it was just like, do your best, because, performing in Trinidad, performing in Guyana, performing in Tobago, performing, and you already know, okay, they know this stuff, the intake going to be nice. But when I was going to the stage in Brooklyn, it was like, it's a mix of people, because it's a mix of Haitians, Jamaicans, Trinidadians, Guyanese, but they live out there, and I didn't know how they would have taken it. But once I was there, everybody was excited for Finland. The experience was nice. After I look back at it, and I was like, yeah, people enjoyed it, and that's what I wanted. So
yeah, the crowd was electrifying. Your performance was great. I want to give you all your kudos and congratulations. And guess what? Tobago is looking forward to having you on our shows, enjoying. All right. Yes, we can't wait to have you. And Fog Angels Mass, definitely the Pina Colada section. Once you are playing that section. All right. Thank you so much, Lady Lava. It was indeed a pleasure talking to you, and all the best for the season.
Thank you very much for having me.
All right.
Blessed morning.
You too. All right, viewers. So we were talking to Lady Lava. Rebecca Harris is her full government, as we learned this morning. All right. So we thank her so much for that. We are going to go for a quick break, and we'll be right back. We have a lot more in store for you. So remember to share the live, share the live, share the live.
Sister, if he love his ring on the finger, he will turn you, he will twist you, he will jam you, but never post you. He will make sure the pink and hold on. You serious and you wanna have fun. He having fun with the child mother. Take 2 house down, fun with the neighbor. Then his next girl buying him data. She tells she man, your man is the driver. Whole time he's living inside her. Whole time he's living inside her. Sure outside with my girls this summer.
Are you an architect or draftsman looking to upgrade your skills? Or a beginner eager to master essential tools? ReCAD Labs has the solution. Our Revit Architecture Fundamental Tobago course is designed to boost your skills and confidence. Running from October 6th to November 17th, this course includes a live session on November 17th for hands-on learning. Learn from experts in our virtual classroom and stay ahead in the world of architecture. Visit recadlabs.com to enroll now and follow us on social media for updates.
Swap done. Track 7. Tobago of a plan. Let me go now. Yes. Yes. Let me go. If you want life in the islands, come through Tobago. Come through Tobago. Escape Tobago. If you want vibes in the islands, come through Tobago. Come through Tobago. Escape Tobago. Wanted this all of my life. One place with all of my life. So everything that I need is all on the aisle. You can come in, stay more than a while. So go catch your friends, bring something, and pack up your bag, let's go. If you're looking elsewhere, na 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 na. If you're going elsewhere, na na na. Daniel and Dwayne, no. Oh. Check. Daniel and Dwayne, no. If there's one thing that we know is we like we own thing. We own thing. Man planting down the street, no standing up mannequin. Energy card on, she tell me to stop, she too need them hurting. And she say the flag she have too long, it dragging. If it's one thing I know for sure, is a flag I drag on the floor. Look, the police them getting vexed. Why you pulling for your back door?
Viewers, welcome back to the morning show here on Tobago Updates Television. We are 1 week away from Fantastic Friday, our Fantastic Friday here for Tobago October Carnival 2024. Are you excited? Because I definitely am. I cannot wait. We have so much happening. Remember also next week, Wednesday, we have Soca Titans Finals. That's going to be happening at the Market Square. Bring your posse and come down the road. It is going to be an electrifying night. All our artists are going to be putting on a hell of a performance. And you want to be there. You want to be there to support, but you also want to be there get to witness what we have to offer in person. All right. So we are going to dive into more conversations this morning as we are speaking to our artists here on the island. And right next to me, we have none other than Mr. Dwayne White. Good morning. How are you, sir?
I'm fine, thank you. I'm fine, thank you. Good to be here this morning.
All right. So Tobago October Carnival season kickstarting, and you have a new release.
First song ever.
First song ever. But no stranger to the arts.
Yeah, no stranger to the arts. I often dabble in the creative arts, acting, partly singing, musicals, that is.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm an actor by profession. I'm an arts educator, facilitator by profession.
Right. But it's your first time to take this leap of faith.
First time.
So tell me, what's the inspiration? Is it that you always wanted to and the opportunity arose and you said, well, this is it. This is my time. If I don't jump, no, I'll never fly.
Well, the thing is, right, in 2023, when we done the play Queen of the Road, yeah, one of the characters I played was a soca artist, Marshall Montano. Yeah, so after that, my co-worker Daniel Batiste and I said, you know what, we could write a song and try this thing, you know, because we're looking good on stage.
Yeah.
Yeah, we are performers, so let me try our thing. And we often believe that if you are a creative in Tobago and by extension Trinidad and Tobago, it's only fitting to dabble in all genres of the arts. Yeah, to make yourself a holistic performer, that is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So you are part of the Calypso Rose Play. Epic. Yeah. All right, good. All right, so we're moving on, talking more about the song itself. So you said, so you partnered with your co-worker
Daniel Batiste. Yeah.
Daniel Batiste.
Yeah, unfortunately, he's not on the island right now, but he would have loved to be here, but.
Right. So is it that it is a duo? That is how you come, or is it okay? All right, so it is a duo.
So him and I wrote the song. As I said, the inspiration was from the 2023 play.
Right.
And we sat down out of work, wrote the song. We piggyback on certain rhythms. So change this, come back here, you know, and it was a fun process. I now see how the calypsonians and soca artists have this joy, you know, in writing, in creating, in dabbling in this genre. So it's only fitting for us to experience another genre in the arts.
But you've never written before. This was your first as well.
A song. I've wrote, playlets, I've wrote short plays, I've wrote speech band speeches, but never a song.
So it's not far-fetched. They're related. They're like cousins.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So you would have been able to transition into it smoothly.
Yes.
But you all took part in the Titans auditions. How was that?
I feel I was overzealous. I mean, to be quite honest, sometimes, as a performer, you have to have that control. But in the music arena, I never dabbled in it. So I was feeling zealous.
Right.
That is for lack of a better term.
Right.
Yeah.
Right,
I was feeling zealous, and we didn't get through because probably of something, I think we wasn't hitting the notes good. My clarity, as the judges say, was off. So that did not deter us at all.
Right.
That did not deter us at all.
All right,
so
but I'm pretty sure you took the judges' comments and you're definitely going to hone your skills for next year.
Yes, of course. But we still wanted to promote the song. We still wanted to get content out there.
Yeah.
We still wanted to get Tobago local music out there. Yeah.
Right. All right. I agree with that.
Yeah.
So red, white, and black.
RWB.
Right. The inspiration for that. Where did the inspiration for that come from?
Well, we wanted to sing something patriotic. We wanted to have a patriotic rendition, opposed to, well, we dabble in MC, let me see, woman whining, mass. All right. So let's sing something about the country and about other countries enjoying what we have as carnival.
Right.
You know, talk about what carnival involves, even the granny coming out, you know, to Dingoli.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the inspiration came from being patriotic to our island.
All right, just love everything.
Just love everything.
Loving how we sing.
Loving how we sing. You don't know.
So you guys wrote it. Who produced the song?
Right. So I want to big up Baby Tom Studios. Yeah, he was very, very enthusiastic. He loved the rendition of the song. He loved the message that the song carries, and I'm looking forward to work with him again. He's great.
All right. Well, I mean, even though you guys didn't make it to the finals, I'm pretty sure we're gonna see you there next week.
I mean, girl, we wasn't booked for anything, I guess, because we weren't out there as the first song.
I mean, like supporting.
Yes. Yeah, we will definitely
be there.
Be there supporting the local thing. Definitely be there supporting our thing.
Nice.
Yeah.
But tell me and tell my viewers though, where could they access your music?
Well, to be quite honest, as his first song, we are not on any Spotify's or the iClouds or anything like that, but YouTube.
Right.
You can find us on social media. You can find us at JR, the creative activist, or Daniel Batiste, or Dwayne White Jr. on YouTube. So far the song's on YouTube. They can download it if they want, they can listen to it. Just support the thing.
Yeah, man. I will definitely be having them here on Entertainment Central as we go. We will be having live shows all week next week as we head on into the festivities. So look out for them. They're definitely going to be here. If you want to hear that song, you want to see our own performer, and you want to see what they can give, definitely stay locked to Entertainment Central. Anything you want to tell my viewers before we go?
Support the local thing. Support the local thing, viewers, support it. We out here working hard, we out here working diligent to have some kind of content. Yeah? So Tobago have its own, and by extension, domestic tourists from Trinidad and international tourists coming over here, regional coming over to enjoy what we have.
Right.
So support our thing, and soon we local artists will be out there.
Yeah, indeed.
We're just producing and sending out, packaging, sending out.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. All right. Thank you so much, Dwayne
No
White
problem.
Jr. Viewers, we've been talking to Dwayne White Jr. and he has a new release, Red, White, and Black. All right. It is Tobago October Carnival 2024. And the thing hype, the thing hot up. We're getting ready for Soca Titans finals next week, Wednesday. So you know what? Stay locked to Tobago Updates Television to Entertainment Central. All right. Remember that Tobago Updates Television is the official media house for Tobago October Carnival 2024. We have a lot more in store for you this morning. It is Friday, the Friday before Fantastic Friday, so don't go anywhere. Remember to share the live, share the live, share the live.
Everything I sing and show me a flag. Do let it drop, do let it lag. You must be mad, Just show me a flag, You must be mad. All in the stage, all in the streets, we get on mad. Grenada, St. Vincent, Antigua. Show me a flag, do let it drop. Barbados, Jamaica.
So guys, there are some new developments in housing in Tobago. So it's goat racing time. This is 116, the show that keeps you in the know with all things Tobago House of Assembly. Each week, 116 delivers a fun and engaging overview of the latest developments, achievements, activities, and events of our dynamic assembly. So join me. Let's dive into the Tobago House of Assembly's Week in Review right here on 116.
Friday before our fantastic Friday. Viewers, welcome back to the morning show here on Tobago Updates Television. We are talking artists on the island as we count down Tobago October Carnival 2024. Remember, Port Authority said approximately 17,000 people coming over just on the ferry, and they are going to be adding more sailing. So you know what? We are preparing for quite a few persons to be here, and so we have to give them an experience of a lifetime. So we dive into more conversations with artists, and sitting next to me this morning is none other than our very own Mr. Caston Cupid, no stranger to this industry. Good morning, Caston, and welcome.
Good morning, Lavia, and good morning, viewers.
All right, it's a pleasure to have you. So we are talking Soca Titans, but we're also talking Tobago Calypso Monarch.
Yes, we are.
Booked and busy?
Booked. I ain't really booked today, but I'm surely busy.
All right,
Surely.
So next week, Wednesday is the finals.
Yes, next week Wednesday is the Soca Titans finals.
And then the Thursday.
And then the very next night is Tobago Calypso Monarch finals.
No rest for the talented.
Listen, I was in so much rehearsals last night. I'm tired, but I had to make it early this morning.
Right.
And, make sure Tobago Updates gets,
Of course, the official media house for Tobago October Carnival 2024. Yeah. Exactly where you want to be. All right, so tell me, we know that you were the auditions for the Titans, and that the finals is next week. How is preparations going? Are you ready? How confident are you feeling? Ready to give us that performance, that electrifying performance that you give every single time?
Yeah, well, from the auditions, it was, I took the learning points that needed to be learned, and preparations have been going well. It's from dancers to props, and the whole. I want to give out the whole thing, but performing at number one. Because the job was yesterday. I think the onus is on me to set the bar, and am I aiming to set that bar high, because one is not an easy position. Everybody shy away, but it's a saying: God gives his toughest battles to his strongest soldiers. So I think I'm a strong soldier.
Yeah.
So the bar will be set pole vault high. Come next week Wednesday.
Yes.
Pump performing in position number one.
Right, Pump, nice. All right, but tell me, how has the season been treating you though?
Honestly, the season hasn't. It's just been normal, because it's just focusing on the two auditions first and foremost, Calypso as well. And for me, is balancing work and Calypso and Soca is a task by itself. Much less having two finals back to back, making two different presentations. It's a costly venture, but you know what? We're going to make it happen. It's all about Tobago, all about culture, Soca and Calypso.
But tell me, who wrote Pump and produced Pump?
Pump, I think that is verse. I wrote...
Oh no, your song.
Yeah.
What's the name of your song?
Bad in the Road.
Bad in the Road.
Yeah.
All right. Sorry for that.
Bad
Go
in
ahead.
the Road. It was written by myself and my good friend Colin Alexander, Jamwa.
Right.
We wrote this song, and it was produced by Colonel Roberts, and Azikwe Keller. It was I think it's a nice song for the road. And something that the masqueraders could really jump to. Yeah. Especially, I see us going down the Esplanade and just being bad in the road.
Yeah, bad in the road. And what is what do we have for the Tobago Calypso Monarch?
Oh, right. And for the Tobago Calypso Monarch, I have a song called Here Again. Here Again. Yes, it's a nice social commentary, and I think it embodies something that every Calypsonian could adhere to, and maybe have had some sort of experience. And it is my personal experience as well. I tend to like to give personal experiences or relatable experiences that it could connect with the listener, the viewer, the judges, whoever it may be that can hear and see that performance.
Yeah, and that is what the arts has always been about. Whatever is happening in society or whatever we could relate to, that we bring it in song, because song is so influential and so important. And that was written and produced by who?
All right, that was written by Larry Hayward. Coming out of the bumper season I had this year, after coming second in Young Kings, almost made it to the March Gras. I placed I think it was 12th in the national semi-finals. So it's just using that platform. Now that is the benchmark. So from second, I want to go first.
Yeah.
And last year I placed second in the Tobago Monarch. So from second,
yes,
I want to go to first.
Yeah.
So, it's just about setting the platform and expounding on it and just doing different creative things to push the art form and show that the art form is really alive and thriving, and it's very vibrant.
Yeah, all right. Well, you know what? Anything you want to say to my viewers going into next week, going into Wednesday and Thursday, Caston Cupid out there, 2 competitions back to back. We need to be out there in Market Square to support him. And Tobago Calypso Monarch will be hosted at...
That'll be held at the Magdalena Grand Hotel.
All right.
I don't know if they still call it the Grand, but yeah, the Magdalena Hotel.
Yeah, all right. So anything you want to say to my viewers?
Viewers, it's I would really appreciate the support, not only for myself, but for the entire cast. It's a lovely cast, both on Wednesday and Thursday. Come out early, especially on Wednesday. Show it's free. Make a lamb of it. Bring your coolers. When last we party in Market Square? When last?
Yeah.
When last? You know what I mean? So it's about coming out and support everyone, every artist, and let's push Tobago culture. Let Tobago culture take the center stage and shine, and let the world see what we have in store.
All right, Caston, thank you so much for that, viewers. So we've been talking to Caston Cupid. We are looking forward to seeing him next Wednesday and Thursday at the Soca Titans finals and at Tobago Calypso Monarch. Remember, next week Wednesday we have 3 Mason Hall Manians coming down to perform. So I know Mason Hall coming down, coolers packed and the wild meat and everything done, season to cook in Market Square. So let's make it a day. Don't be late and make it a lime, all right? Entertainment Central tonight at 8 p.m. We have a packed show for you as per usual, hosted by none other, your girl Lavian. It is definitely a pleasure to bring that show to you tonight. You don't want to miss it. Remember, if you are playing mass or if you want to play mass and you have not yet picked a band or a section, Pina Colada, Fog Angels, that beautiful white costume. That is the costume you want to be chipping down the road in, all right, on October 27th. And Nirvana, do not forget Nirvana, that premium all-inclusive fete, Saturday the 26th. You do not want to miss it. Did you see the menu? If I didn't see anything else other than Kes, I saw that menu. You want to be there, all right? It is going to be a grand time. And your girl Lavian, if you want to line with me, you want to be on the road with me, you know where to be, all right? We are going to go for a quick break. But guess what? Your boy Marcus is going to take us into sports. It is Friday, the Friday before Fantastic Friday. Thank you so much for always choosing Tobago Updates Television. Remember to share the live, share the live, share the live.
If you searching big onion, just put up all your damn hands. We reach the stage, we ready to go. It's carnival, in Tobago, jamming out there like a spirit flow. Let me show them how we does the run. Bands in the road revving, my people just misbehaving. Security, how we wait.
Food came from Dasheen locally. We look at Dasheen, which when you boil it, you get a blue coloration.
Are you ready for Tobago Blue Food Festival 2024? Join us on October 20th for an unforgettable celebration of Tobago's unique cuisine. Enjoy live cooking demonstrations, local music, and cultural performances throughout the day. This festival has something for every palate. It's all happening October 20th in Bloody Bay. Visit TobagoFestivalsCommission.com for more info and make sure you're part of this one-of-a-kind culinary event.
Swap done, track 7, Tobago, have a plan. Let me go now. Yes. Yes. Let me go.
If you want life in the islands, come through Tobago. Come through Tobago. Escape Tobago. If you want vibes in the islands, come through Tobago. Come through Tobago. Escape Tobago.
Wanted this all of my life. One place with all of my life. Everything that I need is all on the island. You can come in, stay more than a while. So go get your friends, bring something, and pack up your bag, let's go. If you're looking elsewhere, na 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 na. If you're going elsewhere, na na na.
This is how it's gonna go. They better look up and look, 'cause this is your show, and everybody's gonna know. Say it to to them once again. They better look out below. This is your show, and everybody's gonna know. That's how it's gonna go. They better look out below, 'cause this is your show.
It's a different type of thing down there. And we party till we drop down there. With a lot of pretty girls down there. Down in Tobago.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
Hi guys, welcome back, and thank you so much for staying tuned to Tobago Update Television. And of course, as Lavian said, it's your Friday before Fantastic Friday, and we are in the month of October, the most beautiful month of all months. Yes, of course. So all guys celebrating birthdays today and who have celebrated birthdays before today, I want to wish you guys a happy belated birthday. And for those to come, I hope that you guys are planning to have a wonderful time in this month of October. It's Friday the 18th, and we are into the sporting segment. And I want to say good morning to Mr. Krishna Samai, Secretary of the Trinidad and Tobago Golf Association. And we are talking this morning about the Caribbean Football Championship, which is expected to tee off this morning. This morning, yes, in beautiful Tobago at the Magdalena Grand Beach here. Grand Beach and golf resort, yes? Let me say good morning to you, and of course, thank you for being here this morning.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, fantastic. Lovely weather this morning for golf?
Yes, yes.
And you normally say lovely weather for cricket, but I was going to say golf this morning.
we love the weather so far at Tobago.
Yeah.
Everybody, they said that the weather that we are having in Tobago
Yeah.
is really good for golf.
Yeah, that's fantastic. No rain. Beautiful blue skies and cool breeze that course the golf course. I mean, for those who may not have heard about this Caribbean Football Golf Championship before, let's start the discussion right there. Just give a brief history and tell me what this competition is all about.
Right, this competition is around for a long time.
Mhm.
All right, it started off being more than the four-ball competition, but it's split it 15 years ago, to where now it is only the four-ball competition, where you have all the Caribbean countries come to one territory. Well, different territories would host this tournament over a period of time. This is the first time that Trinidad and Tobago is hosted.
And you have it in Tobago.
In Tobago.
Wow! I wonder who made that negotiation happen.
Oh, our president, Mr. Wayne Batiste, he
Right.
would have spoken with the Minister of Sport,
Right.
the Honorable Shampa Kujo, and they made it happen.
That's fantastic news. I mean, and you mentioned several teams or countries will be participating. Tell me more about those teams and countries.
So this year we have in our competition we have Bermuda, we have Bahamas, we have Cayman Islands, Jamaica, Barbados, Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, and of course Trinidad and Tobago.
All right. So four ball for those who not into the golf, right? Tell me about the four ball thing.
So each category we will have 4 teams
Right.
participating. So that's what I call a 4-ball competition.
Right.
We have the mid-amateur, we have the seniors, super seniors, and the veterans, masters.
Oh,
So it's different categories of players,
Okay.
both male and female.
Okay, so amateurs will be like me who haven't. I mean,
Amateur is non-professional.
non-professional whatsoever.
So they have throughout the Caribbean, we have all the different golf associations. All the players will be amateur players,
Right.
unless you are professional and you play like in the PGA
Right.
and those things. In the Caribbean, we do have professional golfers, but they don't really participate in these tournaments. It's only for amateurs.
Oh, so to this tournament which starts today and ends when?
Sunday.
On Sunday. So we only have amateurs participating.
Yes.
And the 4 categories. What age group? What kind of age bracket you fit into
Right,
there?
so we have like the over 70, that is the masters. We
Right.
have the over 60 would be super seniors.
Right.
The seniors after 50 upwards, and we have the mid-arm, which is under 50.
Yeah, I know the Honorary Prime Minister, he likes this golf as well. Is he going to be participating?
No, but he sent his regards.
Right.
He was supposed to be there last night, but
Right.
he sent a representative for the opening.
Oh.
The opening last night.
Oh, fantastic. So tell me about Trinidad and Tobago, because I mean, you can't come into a country and want to beat us up in a way. How our team looking?
Well, our team, we have assembled one of the best teams so
Right.
far. Last year, our team would have won to the Bahamas, and they did quite well.
Right.
And this year, we're hoping that they could go all the way and win the tournament.
Yeah.
We have some of the best players in Trinidad. Our president actually is playing in the senior division.
Right.
Yeah.
So tell me about, do you have any players from players from Tobago on that team, or you know, we're gonna be like standby?
We have no players. Sorry to say that. Tobago is now coming on its own. As you are aware, we all only have one golf course here. But this is our way of bringing the golf to the people of Tobago.
Right.
We would have had discussion with the chief sec and so on, so that we could make Tobago, and well, this is with the minister of sport, by the way.
Yeah.
We are trying to make Tobago a golfing destination. All right, because a lot of people would call the office in Trinidad asking, they come into Tobago to visit and they want to play golf.
Yeah.
So we will just simply direct them to Magdalena. So, you know, Tobago at one time had 2 excellent golf courses in Mount Irving, and of course I understand that they're trying to.
You're trying, but
okay.
Okay.
So if that happens, you know, Tobago will be a destination where people would want to come to play golf. Because a lot of golfers really call and they want to come to Tobago because Tobago is, you know, is more the nature isle where you would come and peace and serenity.
Yes.
Get the sea, you know, everything, the food, the people.
Yeah.
So people always call in the office, they want to come to Tobago. They visited from the UK, they visited from the States, and we often, we only have to direct them to the Magdalena.
Yeah, and so as you mentioned, I mean, our food, our culture, entertainment, and all these different things. Take me through the 3 days of events. Is it just going to be golf, or are you going to allow the teams to take a time down at Pigeon Point? Tell me about the entire 3 days.
So the week of activities actually started last night, where we would have had the opening at the Plantation Golf Course Golf Club. Tonight, we are supposed to have a meet and greet at one of the members' homes. And of course, over the period, we will be taking them to the different beaches and so on. I know Pigeon Point is supposed to be in the evening. Of course, one of the premier beaches in Tobago, we will take them there. I think Sunday, there's a trip to go up to...
that's fantastic, man,
So we were hoping that we could have taken them to the Blue Food Festival and Sunday.
Oh, that's on Sunday. Oh, okay. that would have been really nice, though.
Because remember, we have our closing ceremony at the end on Sunday as well. So we'll try and work it out.
Fantastic. So in terms of prices, I mean, is it going to be like a Range Rover for a hole in one, all them different things? I know that I like to give away big things in golf, you know.
Yeah, that is true. For the Chief Sec game, they do that. In Tobago, and a couple of the players from Trinidad won those.
My goodness.
But we are playing for the Caribbean Championship trophy. It's a big trophy. It's for bragging rights, really. But it's a tournament that players throughout the Caribbean look forward to, especially apart from the Homan Cup and the Caribbean Junior Golf Championship. This tournament now caters for all the other golfers. The senior golfers, the masters golfers. So everybody get a chance to play in this tournament. And because, you know, most people after retirement they go into golf. So we have big name players. We have Russell Latapy.
I like that. Russell Latapy, the little magician.
Yes. He's playing.
What? He's a lefty. He's a lefty.
Yes. He's playing for Trinidad Tobago. So you know,
I like that.
These guys retire. You know, they gravitate towards.
So Dwight work here too. I know that's riding partners. You know.
Not here,
right.
But Brian Lara actually played in the tournaments leading up.
Right.
We qualified for this tournament.
Okay.
Right, because we normally would have trials, and Lara would have played, but he didn't qualify. So Latapy would have qualified. So that's how he's here representing Trinidad and Tobago.
So the players that were selected for Trinidad and Tobago, you had a qualifiers to
play? We must have qualified. We have hundreds of golfers in Trinidad, so all of them get the opportunity to come and take part in the trials, and of course they would qualify based on the scores.
Fantastic. So obviously the teams would have arrived before today.
Yes.
And I'm certain that they would have had practice sessions and stuff.
Yes.
What's the feedback like? Because the first time they're here, tell me about the thoughts from them about the golf course.
The people, they came in on Wednesday. A lot of them came in, and up to yesterday, people were still arriving. They did have practice wrong yesterday and on Wednesday. And all of them said the course was in fantastic condition. They love it. They love the nature, how it's set up and everything. They love the course together and wanted to have a little tournament. And then the federation started, and we expanded into the Latin American countries like Puerto Rico and DR. You know, so now the big teams really is from Puerto Rico and Santo Domingo, but Jamaica this year have a large contingent, and they're hoping to take the first prize.
Right.
But Trinidad as well, we are here and we're hoping to do better. We want to take the prize, the home.
Well, I say we home, we home. Yeah. And in terms of like, so you have women involved as well.
Of course, teams? Yes. In all the categories, there are men and women.
Right.
So it's 2 female teams and 2 men teams in each category.
Right. In terms of like, if I'm listening to this of you in this interview right now, when I want to come and take in the golf, any facility for spectators as well?
Of course, there are facilities there that you can follow the golfers as they're going out.
Right.
And we have some bleachers and so on that you can come and sit and watch by the holes, by the 18th hole and by the number 1 tee box. You can see how they tee off and how they putt in and so on.
Right. So tell me about the times for tee offs.
Tee off today starts at 9 o'clock. Right. And of course, every 10 minutes they would go off until about 10:30. And that will be so for the next 3 days.
That's fantastic. I mean, I'm looking forward to this this tournament. I'm not a golfer, but it's something I'm starting to get involved and appreciate, because I play cricket, and some say once you play cricket,
yes, it's easy to transition. A lot of cricketers transit into golf.
Yeah. In terms of, I mean, because I'm sure that the Trinidad and Tobago Golf Association will see this as sport tourism.
Of course.
Having all the teams here. In terms of numbers, can you give an idea of like how many persons in terms of teams in total?
In total, we have from all those 8 territories, I have about 70 players in total.
Wow.
Right. And of course, they would have not come by themselves. They would have brought their families and so on. All of whom are staying at the Magdalena Grand. So it is easy for us to have everybody housed there, and easy to get to the golf course and so on.
Yes.
Because usually when you go to these tournaments abroad, you usually have the tournament where the hotel has the golf course.
Oh.
It's easy to move people back and forth to the golf course and back to the hotel and so on.
Oh, that's really good news, and I'm sure they're gonna be having rentals and they're gonna eat and all these different things. So it's a really good injection for the Tobago economy, if you want to put it that way. And can we look forward to more events of this nature coming to Tobago in golf-wise?
Of course, every year in Tobago, we have a lot of tournaments. We started with the Scarborough Cup recently. Just a week ago, we had the Tobago Invitational. That would have finished, like an individual tournament. And now we're having this. We had the Chief Sec. So these are tournaments that usually take place in Tobago. Of course, it's bringing a lot of golfers from Trinidad, and sometimes we bring golfers from outside of Trinidad as well to come in to play in this tournament. So it's a really nice destination for golf. And in fact, players, from the time you hear it's Tournament Tobago, I mean, they book from the guest houses to the hotels, everywhere, and then they're renting cars, so this bring a lot of money into the economy.
Yes. I think, and all of us here in Tobago, we do appreciate, the Trinidad and Tobago Golf Association and the president for picking Tobago as his spot this time around. And the defending champion country, which country is it?
The defending champion is Puerto Rico.
Puerto Rico. Lex is here. Before I let you go, Mr. Samai, any final word you want to?
Right. So, this tournament is running over this weekend here. And of course, we know there are a lot of golfing academies in Tobago, and we wish that, you could bring the youngsters to come and see the golfers, see how the tournament is run and how the players play. And this might inspire them to continue to play the game and to represent Trinidad and Tobago. Right. So, this is what we are about. We are about promoting golf, promoting Tobago as a destination for golf. And, of course, we have the support of the government. We have the support of the Ministry of Sport and so on. And we are doing our best. And we wish that the Tobagonians would come out and support this tournament.
Yeah, fantastic. I want to thank you so much for coming on set this morning. And, of course, we here at Tobago Updates, we do wish, the tournament all the best. To continue to have wonderful weather. And at the end of the competition, Trinidad and Tobago will lift that cup, and then we're gonna celebrate. We're gonna celebrate into the night on Sunday. I wish you guys could have gone up to Blue Food. That would have been a really good segue from the tournament. But maybe next time around. But I'm certain that some would remain in Tobago on Sunday.
Because some people will make a vacation out of it as well.
Fantastic. So all the best to your team and all the best to the competition.
Thank you very much.
Fantastic. And guys, we've been chatting there with Mr. Krishna Samai, Secretary of the Trinidad and Tobago Golf Association, the 2024 Four Balls Championship taking place at the Magdalena Grand and Beach Resort. Yes, for those who are interested, you can get down there. It's all free. They have a bleacher there for you guys to sit and take in the golfers. Should be an interesting 3 days of competition. I'm going to leave it there today with you guys to continue to ask you guys, continue to be safe out there and continue to choose sport. Yeah, and Tobago updates as well. Don't forget, share the live. Share the live, share the live. Good morning, Tobago next.
Thank you.
Organization is an organization we come together in these times to actually see how much people look at assist and create some positive impact in Trinidad and Tobago. Well, this is such a prestige feeling. It's a feeling that, I mean, forget the hard work, however, it's well deserved and I'm feeling very good and very confident about it. Yeah.
I am very honored to receive the award on behalf of Mount St. George. We know we have some communities within Tobago that are usually stigmatized and so on, and Mount St. George from time to time tend to be one, but I am happy that receiving an award like this shows that Mount St. George is still doing well, we are still excelling, and we are still a force to be reckoned with.
As a person who lives in Tobago East, I think that it is rewarding to be rewarded for rewarding work, and people that volunteer. Volunteerism is an investment to your community, and I think it's great that the minister sees it fit to recognize the efforts of persons who are working tirelessly, because this job is not a job that you are paid for. It is a voluntary job. So to be recognized, for me, it is something remarkable.
This is an opportunity to honor individuals, especially from Tobago East, who would not ordinarily be in the mainstream and who are all deserving of the recognition. I saw very worthwhile entrepreneurs, civic-minded and socially conscious individuals being awarded, and today is perhaps no better day to honor them. It's a public day, and so it's a good day to honor patriotism above everything else.
Apart from us being resilient, apart from us being loving, we are very generous people, and this year in particular I felt it necessary to really highlight the work of those who may go unnoticed, but most importantly those persons who are touching lives in Tobago and by extension Trinidad and Tobago.
That was a production of the Department of Information, Office of the Chief Secretary, Tobago House of Assembly.
So guys, there are some new developments in housing in Tobago. So it's goat racing time. This is 116, the show that keeps you in the know with all things Tobago House of Assembly. Each week, 116 delivers a fun and engaging overview of the latest developments, achievements, activities, and events of our dynamic assembly. So join me. Let's dive into the Tobago House of Assembly's Week in Review right here on 116. Welcome viewers, I am your host this morning, Natalie C.D. Richardson, and you are viewing GMT Good Morning Tobago, and we are going to get ready for our news in 90 seconds. Ferry tickets for Tobago October Carnival period are sold out, but the Port Authority plans to add extra sailings between October 23rd through the 29th to accommodate the high passenger demand on the Sea Bridge. However, Port Authority Chairman Lyle Alexander mentioned that despite the sold-out status, some walk-on passengers might still secure spots. This year, the Sea Bridge will run 20 sailings across 3 vessels, aiming to transport a total of 17,608 passengers. Alexander assured that the service is well prepared to handle the influx, but advised waiting until after Carnival to assess the final passenger turnout. Kareem Peters, a 24-year-old laborer from Golden Lane, was granted $2 million bail after appearing in the Tobago Masters Court on Wednesday. He faces a charge of marijuana possession for trafficking and is scheduled to return to court on July 10, 2025. The charge follows an incident on October 7, 2024, when officers acting on a tip found a white Nissan Tiida parked along Pigeon Point Road. With help from the K9 unit, police discovered 48 packages and 7 additional packages of cannabis totaling 29.7 kilograms with an estimated street value of $1.6 million. One suspect was arrested and the drugs were seized. Opposition MPs are demanding the removal of National Security Minister Fitzgerald Hinds after he blamed public complacency for the rising murder rate, which has exceeded 500 for the 3rd consecutive year. St. Augustine MP Khadija Amin called for this dismissal, citing his ineffective approach, while other MPs, including Saddam Hussein, Arnold Ram, and David Lee, criticized Hinds for avoiding responsibility and noting an increase in kidnapping. Lee warned that the murder toll could surpass 600 and urged Prime Minister Keith Rowley to act. And that was your news in 90 seconds. Let's go to a quick break.
Blue food came from Dasheen locally. We look at Dasheen, which when you boil it, you get a blue coloration.
Are you ready for Tobago Blue Food Festival 2024? Join us on October 20th for an unforgettable celebration of Tobago's unique cuisine. Enjoy live cooking demonstrations, local music, and cultural performances throughout the day. This festival has something for every palate. It's all happening October 20th in Bloody Bay. Visit TobagoFestivalsCommission.com for more info and make sure you're part of this one-of-a-kind culinary event.
Tobago Carnival is just around the corner, and Bethel Credit Union has you covered. Whether you're prepping for costumes, parties, giveaways, or a staycation, it's all within your reach with our Carnival loan sale. For as little as $900 a month, yes, $900 a month, you can get the funds you need to make this Carnival season unforgettable. At Bethel Credit Union, we're here to make your celebration dreams a reality. Visit us today or call 639-8226 for more information. Normal lending criteria applies because we see you at BCU.
Welcome back, viewers, and thank you for staying with us. We are in the month of October, and in addition to the carnival hype, we know that globally, October month means something. And if you weren't aware before, well, you are at the right place, because October has been designated for quite some time as Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And just in case you have been behind in terms of all that's going on, I just want to share some information with you coming from the World Health Organization. And of course, this year's theme is "No one should face breast cancer alone." Breast cancer is the most common cancer globally, with around 2.3 million new cases every year. It represents 1 in 8 cancer cases in both sexes and a quarter of all cancers in women, with a 70% mortality occurring in resource-constrained settings. Health system barriers and patient-level factors with low levels of awareness and knowledge are contributing to low uptake and of early detection services, with resultant late-stage diagnosis and poor outcomes. In many resource-constrained settings, breast cancer affects a relatively younger population, significantly contributing to premature mortality and maternal orphans. And this is from the World Health Organization's global website. And of course, a lot of information is there. Over the years, we have heard people come forward, share their experiences, their stories, lessons learned. And I am sure that many of you know someone who has been diagnosed with breast cancer, and maybe even yourself had that experience. And I just want to put this plug in here. Yes, men can also get breast cancer. According to the US, their data, it's 1 in about 1,000 men do get breast cancer. So it's something that is not impossible, though rare. But of course, a lot of the focus is on our women, and we continue this morning to recognize Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and just for you, our viewers, to be more informed. And it's my pleasure to welcome to Tobago Updates this morning Mrs. Nicole Dyer Griffith, no stranger to Trinidad and Tobago. She represented us in 1999 as Miss Universe Trinidad and Tobago. She's an entrepreneur. She's a philanthropist. She has become an activist for breast cancer as well, and the list can go on. So let's welcome her this morning as she joins us. Good morning, Nicole.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
All right. And of course, many of us are quite aware of your recent diagnosis of breast cancer, and you have been very vocal. You have been very brave in sharing your experience with us and taking us along that journey thus far. And just in case some of our viewers have not been up to speed on social media and just clueless, yes, Nicole has shared her diagnosis with the world. She was diagnosed with stage 3 breast cancer. And if you can just share with us, part of that journey, because as I said, you have been sharing for quite some time in terms of this experience. And I just want to start off on when you got that. And before we get to the diagnosis, what would have prompted you? Because I know you shared you already had your medical for the year. What would have prompted you to just go back and say, let me check again?
Gary and my mother, because I am one of those persons who I do not drink alcohol, I do not smoke cigarettes, I do my checkups as I
Right.
should, my mammograms, my palpitation tests. I do what you're supposed to do. I do not place myself, my body in any situation that would be considered high risk, or that, when you look at all of the parameters surrounding any form of cancer or any form of lifestyle type illness, there are certain parameters that you check and say, okay, this puts you high risk, that puts you high
Right.
risk. I do not put myself in any of those things, but here I am with
Right.
stage 3 breast cancer. So it was quite shocking because there are no indicators. One of the indicators they look at is gene and genealogy, and they test to see if you have the BRCA gene, BRCA1 or 2. I do not have any of those genes either. I have no family history of breast cancer. Of course, there are family members who would have experienced cancer, but different types of cancer, not breast cancer. So this was certainly quite shocking.
Definitely.
And the reason why I went and did another medical for this year, so that was 2 medicals this year, is because Gary noticing changes and my mother, and the 2 of them literally teaming up and said, you need to go and do another check. Something is not right. Something, you just to make sure, just to appease us, the 2 of us, just go and check again. And so I went and did another medical and did a mammogram. And this time with the mammogram, I did an ultrasound, and it is the ultrasound that identified the masses.
And I just want
one
us
of the
to pause right there, Nicole, before we continue, because I think that is so important. Because when you hear about breast cancer and detection, we are all as women told when you reach at least 40, but now they're advising women to start earlier, do a mammogram. And it seems that is they wear it all, mammogram. But here you are saying that your mammogram would not have shown the breast cancer, but an ultrasound. So based on that, what
mammogram came up as dense, so that you would not have been able to see it with the naked eye.
Right.
And so the doctor said, let's do an ultrasound to see what happened. And then, in speaking with many women, many women have told me that they too presented mammograms that presented as dense or with dense tissue, or you couldn't see anything properly. And so it ended there. So one of the lessons coming out of this is ensure if you do undertake a mammogram, if it presents as dense, you have dense tissue, or it's occluded, you cannot see clearly, go and get an ultrasound. And it is the ultrasound that will be able to identify any of the masses. Because as I mentioned to you, I do the palpitation. So up to this day, you cannot palpitate and feel any mass or masses.
Right.
You can't. So to just leave it to that and say, well, if you feel a lump, sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. In my case, you don't. Up to now, you don't. So that it is the ultrasound that really underscored, and you were able to identify what you could not see on the mammogram.
Right, and it's so important for those of viewers who are joining us this morning to do your follow-ups as well and not take your body for granted. Sometimes, there are signs, not maybe obvious ones, but we often can detect if we're paying attention. I just don't feel like myself. Don't ignore it, but, talk to your doctor. And I'm also quite aware that there are many of us who may not have regular checkups for various reasons. We usually go to the doctor when we get sick, when we have a cold, and we don't really do maintenance of our body. So that's so important. And I can't begin to imagine, Nicole, your thought process in terms of getting the diagnosis. As you mentioned, you didn't have any of the symptoms, you're not in that risk factor bracket, but here you are told you have breast cancer. What's your thought process like then?
What's the next step? That is, my son tends to jokingly say that you're very robotic, but to me, it's not being robotic. It's simply about planning and understanding that this is the situation and creating everything within a framework. So for me, when the diagnosis was confirmed, immediately I'm thinking, okay, so this is it. Now that I know what it is we're treating with, what is the plan moving forward? And how can we quickly begin to operationalize this plan? That's where my headspace immediately went into, operationalizing the plan and getting to the point where I'm over this and I'm finished with it. And this is why I termed it an invasive inconvenience.
Right.
Because that's what it does. It takes 1 to 2 years of your life in managing this scenario. And so it's quite inconvenient, especially if you have a lifestyle like mine where, you're working on 15 different things at the same time. Very inconvenient. So I frame this as a project to be managed, and it is about identifying and lining up what are the steps to manage it and get to the end point.
Mm-hmm. And do you think your response to that diagnosis is because of your background, your experience being an entrepreneur, just being that person who knows how to get things done?
Well, I have walked through numerous fires in my life, numerous fires. So I tend to say that if another fire, I don't get burnt. I just, it might hurt a bit, but I will come through it because I've come through so many. This is just another one of those things that I need to manage and move on. So that in this process, sometimes you look at things occur and you wonder why? There was a point where I was going into the why, this doesn't make any sense, why me? And then I had to pull and say, well, why not you? You're so special that this, many other people, why not you? And so therefore, when I had that self-talk and I said, okay, this is the situation, then what are the lessons coming out of this situation? Because there are so many things that you can either go a number of directions. You can either go into the direction of woe is me, and just have it consume you, or you can go into the direction of what are the lessons to be learned coming out of this, because there are so many different parameters that can be touched. There's so many different people that can be reached. There's so many different ideologies that can be conceived out of this. There must be a reason why you were chosen to carry this burden. And so the reframing it in that perspective, it allows me now to look and try and identify what are the reasons, because there are few key things that came out of it. One was reframing it as an invasive inconvenience. When you begin to think about that way, it changes the paradigm of how you choose to manage it. And two, manage and move on. One of you mentioned earlier on in your introduction of me is that I am an advocate. I do not consider myself an advocate for any form of cancer. It happened. It occurred, I'm managing, and I spoke about it. And in so doing, a number, well, let me tell you, girl, I have been, there's so hundreds, if not thousands of people have reached out to me, either to share their own experiences, either to speak of their, that they're afraid and they're not sure how to approach it, either to speak of their own treatment regimes, so many different things. So all of this now is just adding to the aspect and the question that I asked, what are the learnings from this? So that's where
And you may not describe yourself as an advocate, but you have become one, as you said. You mentioned that providing that support, because when people, and I will describe you as a person of influence, go through these trials and are able to share, people listen. You have that listening population there. You are able to reach people sometimes that even maybe health officers cannot reach. So it is important that you continue to share and, provide that support even as you are supported. Now, I would have also mentioned at the beginning of the show that the World Health Organization, the theme for their breast cancer awareness campaign is no one should face breast cancer alone. Now you have this diagnosis and you have to communicate it to loved ones. And I know you seem to be very pragmatic. You know what you have to do and you work towards it. What is it like having to face your son, your husband, your mother, those who were pushing you and say, hey, if you're not feeling well or something is wrong, let's do this medical again. And now you have to communicate it.
Well, as I mentioned earlier, Gary and Mommy were there from the onset. So they were right there when the diagnosis was confirmed. So I didn't have to share it with them. They were there from the get-go. The most challenging experience I have had thus far, and I've had many challenging experiences throughout this process, including the surgery for the port and so on. But the most challenging was telling my son, the kid, because the first time, I think, how am I going to share this and make it sound less intense? How am I going to share this and, make it and not have to say the word cancer? Because from the time you say the word cancer, immediately people think the end point and they think about death and dying and all of that. So I'm thinking, how do I reframe this so that it doesn't impact him as negatively? And the first time I did it, I said to him, I have something I want to share with you. It's just a little issue that I have to manage, but don't worry, I'll manage it and all is well. But I just wanted to let you know. And the first thing that he said is not cancer. I said, no, it's not that. Don't worry about it.
He read the play.
And then I went back. And then I went back and I told Mommy and Gary, because, everybody was on, tenterhooks. How's she going to talk to the boy about this? And I told them I couldn't say it. I couldn't. And they said, you need to go back and tell him the truth.
Right.
You need to be honest. Tell him the truth. And so I reframed. I had to steel myself, because, they will be looking at every single reaction, looking at your eyes, looking at your face, looking at everything and feeding off of that. So I had to craft how. And I took him out to a corner of the house that I consider a nice, relaxing corner. Right. And we had about 2 hours of conversation of all forms of nonsense, from cars to you name it, all sorts of things. And I just slipped it in there and said, I really enjoy having these conversations. And so. And he looked at me, he looked away, and the look on that face is a look I will never want to see again. It was a look that could just rip you apart. And I had to really hold back. I think I mentioned to somebody, I think at that point I did shed a tear, because that look, that was tough. But after, we just continued the conversation. We continued talking about the management plan. And from that day, he has not seen me in any weakened or diminished mode. He's just seen me managing and moving on. And so for that, everybody's comfortable, because they're seeing that that's what we're doing. As a team, this is what we need to do. This is how we're going to do it. We manage and we move on.
Mm-hmm. And what made you decide to bring the rest of us in on what's going on?
Well, this is managing any form of cancer, particularly stage 3 or stage 4. Those are the more advanced forms.
Yes.
You have to prepare yourself and those around you for any eventuality. And one of the eventualities that I had to face is because of the type that I, was diagnosed with, one, and mine is multifocal, which means it wasn't a lump. It's widely spread. And it also spread to the axial lymph nodes, so that it is more intense type of treatment that would be required. And one of those treatment regimes included 8 rounds of chemotherapy. So I had to steel myself to manage the chemotherapy as well as the others around to expect certain things. So it's almost an education process that you have to undertake. Okay, expect A, B, C, D, and E. Thank the Lord above that I have been able to manage the process rather seamlessly. And so for everyone around, it was a lot easier for all of them. So that sharing with a team, from the time that I received the diagnosis, 2 weeks into that, my mother called together a team of prayer warriors.
Right,
and
of course.
So, and that team was called Team NDG, and it started a prayer circle, and it's going and going and going. And in terms of the decision to do the public sharing, it was something that I was, going back and forth and discussing with Gary and Mommy. Should I not? And then when my hair follicles decided, look, I've had enough of this, we're gone.
Right.
I said, okay, so I'm bald. I joke with everybody. I'm like a hairless cyborg because there's no hair. And I said, something? One of the lessons, remember I mentioned earlier on, there are a number of lessons along the way. Yes. And one of those lessons is that I have shared most of my life from since I was about 14 years old with Trinidad and Tobago. Yeah. Because from the time I was 14, I was modeling stages all across the region with mannequins. And the country really has seen my trajectory. And this is another significant milestone. I am not going to hide. I'm not going to wear wigs. I'm not going to do any of that. I'm going to share it with everybody. And so that, we all along this journey together. If you want to be a part of the trajectory, you're more than welcome to. And as I share, I will give you updates. And so I crafted, I love production. Everything in my life is a production. And so my dear friends, Stephen Dubal and Richard Young, we did the production with the video, and we released the video. And I have to tell you, honestly, I was overwhelmed by the response. Overwhelmed. And not only in Trinidad and Tobago or the Caribbean, across the world, I've had people reach out to me from Croatia, from the most, far-reaching countries that you would never imagine that this would have reached. And it really was quite overwhelming, absolutely overwhelming.
And just on a side note, you do wear the bald very beautifully. And I think it's so important even in sharing, because we tend to go through these things alone when we get, as we would say, bad news, and we tend to be very private and you don't want people to come in. But I think one of the good things about sharing is that people are there to support you and hold you accountable in your journey. So of course, I really want to thank you for being here this morning. And viewers, we are going for a quick break, and when we return, we continue our conversation with Nicole this morning, and it's all about managing breast cancer.
Rise up to a brand new dawning.
Tell them I can't do even bother calling me. Tell them I can't. I said tell them I can't do even bother calling me. Tell them.
Welcome back, viewers, and if you are now joining us, we are having a conversation with Mrs. Nicole Dyer Griffith on her experience of being diagnosed with stage 3 breast cancer. And of course, it is October month, which has been observed for the last several years as Breast Cancer Awareness Month. So again, thank you, Nicole, for sharing with us this morning. And as we continue to talk about your experience, I just want to say a special good morning to Mrs. Lorraine Edu and Mrs. Rhea Richardson George. And we know these two women have been very bold and brave in their fight with breast cancer as well. And they would have shared at their time with their diagnosis and the stages they had to go through. And they were very, very bold to share and just tell us as it is. And in sharing, remember, you can strengthen someone. I know it's not always easy, but you have to make that decision, what you want to share, how much you are willing to share. But just keep in mind that when you do share, you strengthen someone, you encourage someone, and you also educate, because there are some of us out here, we hear about these terms all the time, and we still don't know enough about it and what we are supposed to be doing in terms of maintaining and checking our bodies to ensure that if we do have any of these types of illnesses, early detection is so important. So Nicole, I want to go back to our conversation, and you know, in your journey thus far, and you mentioned in terms of lessons being learned, is there any one or two things that may have popped out that you realize that in this whole journey, you know, there are things people say about breast cancer, there may be myths out there that people are not aware of, but because now you are having that first-hand experience, you are able to share some of the things you may have discovered that you said, oh, this isn't really true, I've heard this, but this is not so. Nicole, I think your mic is turned off. Sorry.
Are you here?
Yes, we can hear you.
Right.
Now.
So one of the immediate things that jumps out is to do not depend on a mammogram alone. If it is the mammogram comes back as reading dense tissue, or it is too difficult to read, ensure that you follow up with an ultrasound.
Right.
If the mammogram is easy to read and it's perfectly clear, and so that's fine. But if there's otherwise, and even the smallest indicator of it being unable to be read clearly, get an ultrasound.
Right.
The second thing is that you do not wait until you're 40 years old to start doing mammograms. That is over and done with. You need to start doing the assessment processes earlier than that. Maybe I would say around 30. I've seen some readings identifying 20, 25 years old, but you know, you hear the stories of when you reach 40 years old, you have to start doing it every year and so on. No, you need to start earlier than that to ensure, because we're seeing an upsurge of younger women in their 20s, 25, etc. with breast cancer. So let's not wait until you reach the age of 40 or so. Start earlier. The third part about it is that there is a palpable gap in terms of primary level intervention. In healthcare, there are 3 levels of intervention:
right.
Primary, secondary, and tertiary. And so primary level intervention treats with awareness and education and so that you nip things in the bud before you have to arrive at secondary, which is, immediate treatment, and so on, tertiary, where the person is hospitalized. So that I have noticed that there is a palpable gap in terms of education and awareness to make it a little bit more wide-reaching. And the reason why I'm saying this is because, one, I asked after this diagnosis, I just started asking random women, when was the last time you had a mammogram? Right. And I asked 10 random women. Out of that 10 random women, 4 of them asked, what is a mammogram?
Wow.
That is insane. Yeah. And one of the things I've also identified with, so I dug a little deeper as to these 4 women. These 4 women were women who had 2 of them were single parent households. 3 of them had to identify ways of which they have to sustain themselves and their children. So when you have this type of scenario, and you have women in particular who have to look at paying rent, food, school books, this, that, a mammogram is the last thing on their minds.
Definitely.
You understand what I'm saying? So
definitely.
Therefore, it looks at how do we treat with filling this gap. 1, the gap in education, and really drilling down to reach the smaller communities where people may not necessarily have these things on their mind. And 2, how do we mitigate the cost factor involved? Because treating with cancer is extremely expensive.
Yes.
As a fact, I wrote a book. I'm finished with my book. I'm just doing the formatting and so on. One of the things I identified in it is wondering if the cost of treatment of cancer is not prohibitive. and wondering why is it so prohibitive, and is it almost elitist in that only certain people who can afford to do things to treat certain elements of cancer can do it, whereas others have to try and figure out what is the next step. I have met people who've had to mortgage their homes, who've had to sell cars in order to be able to do the basic treatment of identifying chemo and managing chemo, and so the cost of cancer is just absolutely ridiculously prohibitive.
Right. And you see people, as you rightfully said, making all these sacrifices. So whether someone is holding a benefit concert for someone, whether they're selling food, and it's really, for me, when you think of you have to do that on top of dealing with everything else, it can become so stressful.
And you made an absolutely correct point, because in my conversations and looking to see, because of course, when it was identified, okay, this is the trajectory that you have to do, chemo, surgery, this, that. And so I'm looking at, okay, you do it this type hospital, you do that hospital, you do it here, you do it there. And my main stressor was the cost of this thing. The cancer and all of those things were the main stressor, was financing this and trying to figure out, okay, how can I do this? Can I afford this? Can I not afford that? Can I do this? Can I do that? That was stressing me out the most. And so when you think about it from a global perspective, and you really, there are so many questions to be asked. One of which I spoke about the gap in terms of the primary level intervention to the secondary to the tertiary. The other is the issue of cost and managing the treatment of cancer.
And even when you look at the public healthcare system, I know sometimes we are very critical of it, but they can only do so much. But even sometimes in terms of how the system is set up, because I remember last year I got a referral to do a mammogram. So in Tobago, of course, you have the public sector is the go-to because it's very limited in terms of what's available privately. And as you said, even the cost involved. And when I went to the hospital to get an appointment, I was told that no appointments are available. And that was last year. And she called, she said until 2024. And I'm like, we're talking about 6 months into. So are you giving me a date for 2024? And she said, no, I can't give you a date because we're not sure what's happening then, but we will call. And I waited. And then I told my husband, I can't wait anymore. I'll take a trip, go to Trinidad and see about this because, I've heard so many stories of people waiting on the public system. And then by the time they do get an appointment, when time for intervention, the diagnosis, the stage is so late that sometimes not much can be done. So, while they were waiting, and in Tobago, there's also this challenge in after you do any type of testing, in some cases, you have to then wait for results for whatever reason. So even, by the time you get your results, you need to know what's going on because so much time has passed. And that's one of the challenges we face.
Absolutely. I worked as a registered nurse in Tobago for a year. So I am very familiar with the processes across there, but it's the same thing over here. And it's not only cancer, but if it is, we're looking specifically at cancer. When you get, for example, so you get diagnosed, or you want to get a biopsy, or you want to get something to identify and confirm what is taking place, and you're at a specific stage. When they tell you 6 months down the line, that is when you can get an appointment. You arrive at another stage. It is given the cancerous cells the opportunity to spread and to think. And so those are some of the challenges. I read last week, actually, about the issue of some persons having to wait. The chemotherapy drugs were not readily available in the country. You cannot stop your chemo treatments because that regime is so serious that once it starts to work, you have to keep on doing it in order for it to be effective. And so when you have these challenges to face, these are people's lives that we're dealing with. It is a matter of life and death in many of these situations. And so when you look at it from a whole system perspective, there are many, many gaps that need to be filled. It's a very, very challenging scenario, having to manage it. And then on top of that, manage it yourself. And then on top of that, having to manage all of the extenuating circumstances to treat with it.
And of course, we do recognize our hardworking doctors and nurses from the oncology unit and those who provide support for those who are going through their cancer treatment. We know that sometimes you too are stressed by the system because you want to do more. the reality is only so much can be done sometimes, but I always believe when we examine systems, there's always room for improvement and we can do things better. Because as you said, Nicole, it's a matter of, literally, it's a matter of life and death. You mentioned as well education, and it's very alarming to know that it depends on who you are or where you are in society that information comes to you a particular way. And, you know, your random survey you did of those 10 women, the 4 who had no clue. I mean, I've been hearing about mammograms since I'm a teen. So it's in my mind at a certain age. It's just something that I know I have to get done. But here we have some women, and not just women, but people, because I want to include our men in this conversation, because it's very important. They are the ones who have to stand by their wives, by girlfriends, mothers, you know, aunts, grandmothers, who may be diagnosed with cancer, or just even as you had your support system, your husband, your mother, you know, telling you, go on, you know, and for the men in the lives of these women, just to encourage us as well. You know, have you done a mammogram? Have you done whatever screening you need to do, and vice versa? That men also need to be educated. What else? Or should I say, where do we really start? Because I was going to ask what else, but we realize in some cases there's no what else. Nothing has been done, right? So how can we really get that education out to the groups that have been neglected or just overlooked, or for whatever reason have not been able to be a part of the conversations taking place? Because again, if you don't hear about breast cancer any other time, you know you hear about it in October, but we're still missing so many people.
Yeah. That is something I was contemplating myself, because when I did that random survey, I was absolutely shocked that there are women who have no clue. But then I said, Nicole, why are you shocked?
Right.
Because if people's main focus is to provide food for their children,
right,
then as a parent, you are thinking about your children. You're not thinking about yourself. And you're certainly not going to take the little $350 or $400 that you could buy food or buy books or buy whatever to go and do something that you do not understand. Why is that important?
Right.
So that when it is, we have to look at how do we drill down the public education system. There are numerous NGOs, CBOs, etc. Are we reaching all of them so that they can reach the populations that may not necessarily have access to television or to the newspapers or to the social media platforms? Are we utilizing social media platforms effectively enough? Are we reaching the populations that are not ordinarily reached by traditional means of media? Are we utilizing all forms of media? So there are a number of questions that need to be asked. Are we infusing all of the NGOs? Are we, so for example, an NGO in Point Fortin or NGOs in Point Fortin, are we reaching those NGOs to reach the people in the communities? Are we reaching NGOs in Charlottesville, for example, and are they going out in their communities to reach people? So that it has to be a whole system approach of public health and education awareness that we have to. So one of the things that you universally preach is that when you invest more in primary health care and education, research and stuff, you do not have to spend as much in tertiary health care, because when you provide the education, the information, and so from this perspective, immediately it diminishes how much you have to do in secondary and tertiary. It's just common sense, really. And so we really have to, when I say we, I suppose as a society, but I suppose there are systems in place from a governmental perspective that really is supposed to be charged with responsibility of so doing. However, we can't sit and wait on that, because we, it's only that much. And if it is, there are still palpable gaps. Then as responsible persons, we have to try and do what we can to be able to fill those gaps.
And I like your language you use. You say we, because many times we wait on the government, as you rightfully said, to solve our issues. But we have to, even if it's we the people speaking louder and ensuring the government is held accountable, we have to get involved. We have to do something and not just wait. And our NGOs and CBO, there are many NGOs and CBOs in Trinidad and Tobago, and sometimes one wonders what are they really doing? Yes, they may have their focus, and sometimes you see these letters coming to various private sector desks asking for money, doing this, they want, but what are they really doing? Education is so important, whether they are advocating for children, whether it's for cancer, whether it's for, NCDs, whatever it is, you have to really have a strong education program because you want to effect change. And as we know, we say knowledge is power. So if the knowledge is not there, then you are not empowering me to make that change. Again, I'm going back to the group of us, or the group of our citizens who may be left out of all these education programs that may be existing. How do you really reach them? And I think that's the question that the NGOs have to ask, the government has to ask. And because they are so wrapped up in their lives and trying just to survive one moment, even if they pass a poster, pick up the newspaper, it's not going to speak to them. And many of us have the attitude, oh, that's not going to happen to me. I'm fine. It's not in my family. I mean, even look at your diagnosis, you're not in the risk factor, of all the things that could happen to you health-wise. I'm sure you didn't think about breast cancer because you're not in that group. But these women, these men who are living their daily lives and just, focus on getting by, they are not going to look at the flyer that talks about breast cancer. They are on social media looking at other things. They're not going to listen to the video Nicole just posted about her experience. How do we really get them to pay attention and say, hey, this is your life. Yes, you may not be able to go to one of the private health institutions, but let's still utilize what we have available in the public sector. It's better than having nothing at all.
Well, one of the things, I believe in the ripple effect, and the ripple effect speaks to just one drop, and that one drop can begin to widen the radius of influence. And my out certainly widen that the radius of influence, because that is how I was able to reach some of those women, of 10 women who really had no clue about mammograms or could care less about mammograms, didn't see the importance of doing that, because as far as they were concerned, they are too busy trying to live from paycheck to paycheck or from dollar to dollar. And it is because they saw this and they saw me coming out and saying it. One, the visuals and the aesthetics shocked them because, I mean, what? Nicole bald and so on. And two, the mere fact that we communicated and they were able to just reach out and via text or whatever. And we had conversations and so sometimes things you may overlook may actually have more impact than anything else. So that my coming out and speaking and sharing and really just not being afraid or ashamed or closed up to share certain bits of information and to take people along the journey. And I think the continuity along the journey, people feel invested and involved. And because there is a level of investment and they want to know, well, what next? What are you doing? How are you feeling? And so this is why I suppose it has opened the floodgates for so many. And when I tell you, girls, so many, I'm around hundreds, thousands. If you look at my TikTok account, it's just thousands. One video is like 70-something thousand with 3,000 comments and so on. Sometimes a viewer can't respond to everything and everybody. But sometimes I just think, a lady yesterday, I had a few moments and I was going through one of my Facebook pages and I saw a lady reach out to ask me if I could speak with her relative because the relative is so very depressed and they're not treating with they're diagnosed and they're not treating with it. And if I could just call and talk. And I said, okay, it's not going to hurt. Taking up 2 minutes of my day, if I can find it, it's not going to hurt me to do that. So one of the things, and I see a lot more people coming forward. I see a lot more bald heads being posted. I see a lot of people sharing experiences. And as much, sometimes we tend to downplay when people of influence share, but many people tend to look, okay, let me see what you're doing, whatever. And so sometimes it has an impact. And I have seen the impact of my sharing the video and sharing the trajectory and so on. And it has worked because that way I was able to reach those women who had no clue about mammograms. And so that's part of my ripple effect. If I can impact just one person and see how I can really positively influence them to take more responsibility for themselves and, just do a little bit more for them, for their health, then I would have done my part. And if 10 of us were to take that responsibility to positively impact one person, then that would be 10 multiplied by that.
Yes.
And so that is the ripple effect I'm talking about. We can't save everybody. We can't change things because there are certain things that are outside of our element of control and our locus of control. For example, the really global impact programs to increase primary healthcare, to increase education and awareness, to find ways to integrate all NGOs and CBOs so that their impact can be felt more. Some of those things are outside our locus of control, but what is within our locus of control is being able to positively impact one person, maybe 5 people, and getting those 5 people to do the same. And so if we do that, then our time on this earth would have been worth something.
And it doesn't necessarily mean that person of influence has to have a world stage, because you're in a church group, you live in a community, you work somewhere, and just sharing in those spaces, will definitely go a very long way. And I want us to speak.
If I can just share something. Sure. I love afternoon teas. That when I spent some time in Sunderland with my son, he went to Sunderland on a football scholarship, and so we lived there for a little while. And I just was so consumed by the afternoon tea type scenario. So when I came back to Trinidad and Tobago, I introduced something called Afternoon Tea with Nikki D. And so I'll invite different groups of people at my home, and so to have conversations, to share experiences. And so a spin-off from what I do with the O2N Foundation, where we create, connect, and cohere. And so, people really look forward to these afternoon teas. And I hosted an afternoon tea recently to commemorate completing the 8 rounds of chemo, because that is one of the paradigm shifts that I'm doing. I firmly believe that after each round of chemo, you put your body through such intensity that at the end of it, I need to ring my own bell. I need to celebrate that I've done this. So that immediately shifts the paradigm of thinking, and the brain thinks, okay, let's go to the next round because there's something waiting for me positive at the end of that. So I'm thinking, it's almost like Pavlov with the dog. The dog, every time he rings the bell, the dog gets a treat. So it's almost like shifting a paradigm of thinking. After every round of chemo, I do something positive to recognize you've done this. And so after the 8th round, I hosted an afternoon tea. And at that afternoon tea, there were 2 musicians. One of them who is very well known in Trinidad and Tobago, but I will allow him to share his own story. And another young pianist. And they came, someone brought them there as a gift to me to play music and stuff. Well, I wouldn't say because you will immediately know if I call the type of music. But and so they played. And after, I just opened it up because I felt, people need to share and open it up. And these 2 men shared their stories. One of them, he managed cancer and everything cancer had to throw at him. And he was a popular figure in Trinidad and Tobago, and he disappeared and we didn't hear about him for many years. And when he shared the types of trials and tribulations that he went through with this, oh my God, I said, and you're still standing here and playing this beautiful music and so on. You need to tell this. You need to tell this to other people. You need to share to other people. And the other young pianist, he shared his story. His girlfriend passed away. She was diagnosed at 23 with stage 4 cancer, stage 4 breast cancer. And one of the things that, and he cried whilst this was 9 years ago. And in sharing his story, he started to weep. And so, it's still fresh because he said one of the first things that when she was diagnosed, she called him and told him that she was going to kill herself and that she couldn't handle it and she didn't know what to do. And for her, it's a death sentence and she just wanted to die. And, he said this was midnight and he lived in San Fernando and she was in a park somewhere and he just ran from where he was to try and stop her from killing her. I mean, when you hear these impactful tales from men, I beg them, because there were some journalists and these are stories that people need to hear so that when you hear this and you hear the supporter of the person or you hear a male person experiencing this and really giving of themselves, you are not alone in sharing and experiencing what you're experiencing. You are not alone if you get diagnosed and you feel like this is the end of the world. I can't do it anymore. I can't manage it, I can't handle it. You're not alone, because someone would have experienced that previously, and hearing that experience and hearing how it was managed. And for me, more impactfully, hearing it from men who were open and honest and just, share. It was something really quite special. So the important thing is for people listening is that you're not alone. And one of the things I tell people, tell the nurses and doctors and radiologists and everybody managing cancer, is that unless you have experienced this yourself, then you really don't understand. So therefore, take extra time to listen when your patients or clients are complaining about a chemo port or complaining about, the hair loss and stuff like that. It's not a normal experience, to have one.
Yeah,
and just feel it out in your hand and so on like that. Yeah. It's not a normal experience at all. It's not a normal experience, having the effects of chemotherapy or radiotherapy, or having to hear that you have to do 2 surgeries, 3 surgeries, having to hear you have to have a mastectomy. It's a part of your body being removed from your body.
Yes,
that is not a normal experience. So I tend to share with managing persons who are treating with these things, remember, unless you have actually felt it yourself, just, turn up the levels of empathy, turn up the levels of compassion, turn up the levels of understanding for the person experiencing it as well as for their families. Because this is not normal. They are treating with, am I going to have this person next week, next month, next year? So turn up the empathy.
Yep, and it's easy sometimes for us to make things trivial, but we have to remember as women, certain things define us as being a woman. So when somebody loses their hair and somebody may say, but you're still alive, what happened? Your hair will grow back. That's how we are sometimes as a people. And, you have to do the mastectomy, and people say, but you're okay, you don't need it, and we hear all these things. And I'm remembering Rhea would have shared her story with us here in Tobago a few times, and I know one of the experience she would always share when she got the diagnosis, or when she was told she had to do XYZ. She said she bawled because she just had to let it out. She was, of course, so mixed emotions, and I want to tell our viewers, we all handle things differently. And what Rhea said, after she cried, whether it was for days, she composed herself and she got ready to fight this thing, but her initial reaction to was like, why me? How this is me, and that kind of thing. So it's very important. And I say, let the process run, but you have to make up your mind to get up and fight this thing, because, even doctors tell you the science of it sometimes is in your mind. So if you give up even before you fight, sometimes the war is over quite quickly. But if you stand your ground and you decide, yes, I am going to give this my best shot, you'll be around. It's not a death sentence. Yes, so many changes happen, but it doesn't have to be a death sentence. And it's so interesting that you shared the story about men, because the question I was going to ask you is about, what role our men have to play in this breast cancer awareness and managing breast cancer when the women in their lives are diagnosed with breast cancer.
It is one of support. As I mentioned, Gary was the first person to notice, you need to go and do another. Yes, you did a medical before. Yes, you do one, but go back. So it is extremely important. And throughout this entire process, he has been completely involved, completely engaged, and in the management of, one of the things I said before is that they have seen me being very calm, managing and moving on. And so how I respond influences how everyone around me responds. And we've all been very supportive because we've been doing this and working together as a team. And so it's important, but it's also important for us to recognize that you are the protagonist in that this is happening to you and you are managing this. But once you are surrounded by people, then it is also impacting on them. And so whilst you are managing this, sometimes it's helpful to ask, how are you doing? How is this going? And so to remember the people around you who this is also impacting, because cancer, whilst it targets an individual, it also targets everyone around that individual. Because once something is negatively impacting you, it's also impacting them. And sometimes we tend to forget the people around us. Sometimes we tend to forget that they would have to accompany you to the hospital back and forth,
Yes.
They have to take time off. They have to see you going through this, and seeing someone, being debilitated or having to really fight impacts someone who cares about you.
Of course.
And so it's good to remember them and not only focus on how they have to continue to support, but also how you support each other and how you work together as a team to manage this process moving forward.
Mm-hmm. And I just want to thank you again, Nicole, for sharing. And I go back to my word I'm using. You have become an advocate. You did not put it up on yourselves, but definitely, you sharing have really brought this thing again into focus for some of us who would have just, let it pass by again. And it's very inspiring to see you be so brave and be so brave and share. I remember looking at your video when you said, this was your last round of chemo, and you showed us the area where the port would go in and that sort of thing. And it's so inspiring. And one thing I would have learned from you, because even though I try to keep, and that's why I say education is so important, because we still miss things. When I listened to one of your videos and when you shared the mammogram had the report that it said it was dense and you need to do an ultrasound. And I'm like, okay, I thought this was just the end of it, even though it says that, because, and I'm encouraging people to share. So I would share now, because when I did my mammogram, part of the results said I needed to do an ultrasound. And I didn't take it on because for me, okay, the mammogram is okay. The radiologist and I did not say, okay, this is something you need to follow up on. I was just given the report and said, well, you should do it. And when I heard you, I'm like, okay, I have to just do what I'm supposed to do. This is serious. And it's just that, sometimes we just take these things for granted. So I can personally tell you, thank you for sharing your story, because I've never heard that before. I've never heard that being shared in even someone else's experience, but I heard it loud and clear when you shared. And therefore it has empowered me to go ahead and do that next step to ensure that I understand and know what's going on with my body. And I'll just allow you again to maybe encourage that viewer who may have had a diagnosis. It may not even be breast cancer, but some other illness, and they are struggling with coming to terms with it. And so I just allow you to share some more words of encouragement, because you have been quite encouraging thus far.
Well, thank you. It's so very kind of you. I think what you said is encouragement enough. You've made my day by stating that you're going to do your ultrasound because you understand how important it actually is. And that sometimes, 99% of the time is the thing that really identifies that you need to move forward with it. So you've made my day by demonstrating that sharing makes an impact. And I want to thank you so very much for so doing.
All right, so viewers, we come to the end of this conversation here, but it's not the end of the conversation about breast cancer, the impact it has on us as families, as individuals, even as a country of Trinidad and Tobago. So continue to have these discussions, understand, put yourself out there to learn. Don't just wait for the information to come to you. And remember, we are in this thing together. And as the World Health Organization has selected for their theme for their breast cancer awareness program, no one should face breast cancer alone. Nicole, thank you again.
Pleasure. Have a wonderful day.
You too.
Gosh.
All right, viewers. So it is.
I was saying, have a happy carnival.
Yes, thank you. So viewers, we have come to the end of another edition of GMT, and it is Friday. I always encourage us to stay safe, be aware of your surroundings. If you see something, say something. And yes, we are in carnival mode on the island for the next couple of days. There are many things happening. We just had 2 days of World Food Day celebration in Scarborough. We're going to Blue Food on Sunday, and the many other activities planned on the island. We will have a lot of visitors coming in during this time. So please be safe and let's look out for each other. Thank you for viewing GMT this morning. I am your host, Natalie Seeley Richardson. So until the next time we meet again.